Test recording Lyre. Lyre test recording. Lyre? Lyre? Lyre. It's Lyre, right? Isn't that an instrument? What is your name? We're not inserting a name, right? We're not inserting a name, okay? Because Adastra did this. Adastra did this where they're like, insert a name. We're not doing this, right? We're not doing this. We're not pretending like this is like a we're not inserting a name. We're not inserting a name. Chapter 1, Day 1. I'm crawling out of the rubble. I crush snow between my fingers. A numbness caresses my side as my stomach lays flat on the cold snowfall. I can barely see anything in front of me. I hear clutter and chaos all around, but it's very faint. Like a whisper. I can also hear men shouting in pain. The groans are muffled by the snow and wind. I lay my face into my arm and rest. Okay. My nose feels like it might just fall off. Breathing hurts. My lungs sting with cold air. My mouth tastes like metal. Hot metal. Through all the chaos, and the screams, and the rush of cold wind whistling past my ears, I hear a voice. Is that him? Thank God, it is. Get him out of there, quickly. A pair of paws grab me by the arms, and the movement makes it harder to stay conscious. I slowly succumb to the sleep my body has been yearning for. It feels like I've been awake forever. I've wanted to sleep for so long. Huh. Interesting. In the darkness, I hear another voice. It's muffled, as if someone's speaking to me through a wall. I hardly understand anything they're saying. I try to ask him to repeat himself, but I'm dragged from my slumber as if someone's thrown a rope around me. Curious. What a curious sight. I roll over on the cool bed sheets, feeling the air around me settle on my skin. My eyes open to a thick light pouring down from above me, hitting the foot of the bed I'm laying in. I hear the distant clatter of metal, along with voices. It feels like a cold fall afternoon, and there is a stuffy smell that lingers around me as I see dust particles dancing in the light. Dirty room. My mouth is dry and tastes horrible. It's like I haven't cleaned my teeth in a week. My heart starts to rhythmically beat in my chest, picking up pace with every second. I look down at my body and notice I have thick bandages wrapped around my torso. I reach out with my shaking hand, just around my stomach, and feel a twinge of pain near the lower half of my gut. My mind is racing with questions. Where am I, and why am I covered in bandages? What happened to me? Why does my head hurt so much? I bring my hands up to my head and feel around. I don't feel any bumps or bandages, and there's no pain on the outside. It seems I've only been injured down by my waist. I must need water. It's most likely the reason why my head aches. I cautiously sit up from the bed. As I do this, the feeling of all the blood rushing to my head makes everything go dark for a moment. I shift in the bed and slowly wriggle myself out from underneath the covers. I go to throw my legs over the side of the bed and stumble a bit as I steady myself on the cold floor. I look around the decorated room I'm in. It's cozy with a nicely sized bed, a desk, and a slightly open glass door where I see the afternoon light shining down onto the floor. A few bottles and bowls of medicine are strewn about, laying on the cabinet in front of me. I carefully begin to walk to the door when a wave of fatigue washes over me. Everything seems to kick in at once as I'm slowly crouching to the ground. I crawl to the floor and lay there for a second, waiting for it to pass. As I lay there, feeling my insides twist around and dance my body, the door opens. It's your spooky boy. I met with a creepy figure in a dark green robe, wearing a pointed mask and a hat. They look as if they were on a mission, but stop in the doorway. I feel their gaze fall on me from behind the dark goggles. Ah, you're awake. Good, yes. He stirs this out with much effort in an odd voice. It's a bit high, with posh cadence. Oh dear. Wait here for a moment, please. I'll be right back with help. He prances and stumbles back through the doorway, his feathery tail floating behind him. The door swings in slowly, but stops before it can fully close. Richter. Wait. The noise that escapes my throat is hoarse and exits my lips through a puff of breath. Thankfully, it doesn't hurt to speak, but certainly sounds awful. All I can do is lay there as I hear him scuttle off, calling someone's name. He scurried down the hallway, and his voice is already muffled by that mask he's wearing, so I can't make out the name he's calling out. The squeamish feeling slowly subsides. What an odd fellow. Though, I suppose I'm not far off. I'm the one lying here on the ground, half naked and barely able to speak. Just as the cool floor starts to feel nice, I hear muffled voices from outside the door. One of them I recognize as the bird, and another seems soft, deep and annoyed. Of course, the minute I leave for a drink, something happens. How long has he been awake? I don't know, he was just laying there on the floor. On the floor? Why? Probably tried to get out of bed. Is he okay? Well, not really. He seemed to be in some pain, but that's expected. Maybe he was just scared of you. What are you getting at? Leaf. I respect you tremendously, but the mask makes you look ridiculous. The bird sputters and lets out some exasperated noises. It's a safety precaution. The other voice just chuckles. I hear their footsteps get closer until they're right outside the door. With a light knock on the door, it swings open. Never catch me wearing one of those. The short-cloaked bird shuffles in the room, carrying a bag. Walking behind him is a wolf man. He's very tall, almost having to bend over to walk through the doorway. I assume the doorway is not meant for a man of his stature. He closes the door behind him, gripping the knob gently in his large paw. His right eye is scarred, and he has a semi-annoyed expression on his face, contrary to his tail swishing left and right. His armor is elegant. British! 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 His armor is elegant, yet also very bulky. Should I full screen this? Here, a full screen now. His armor is elegant, but also very bulky. Large and white, with fur trimming and metal plate armor. British. A heavy cape drapes behind him with a blue interior. I see a symbol on the breastplate, which I can recognize as the king's family sigil, a pair of antlers stretching high. He is coated with dark brown fur, which is very fluffy around the neck. His eyes trail around the room before landing on me. He walks forward and clears his throat. Do you need any help? I nod my head. He stands there awkwardly before walking forward, his padded feet thumping against the smooth floor. The wolf then proceeds to kneel down, his face getting closer to mine. He pauses before hesitantly touching me, and then he picks me up. I feel his large paws supporting me on the underside of my legs. The wolf lifts me high and then adjusts me in his grip so that I don't fall. He's wearing, like, gloves. He's wearing, like, gloves? Because, like, they're, like, green, but then I guess they're, like, metal-tipped to simulate, like, the claws. Interesting. His neck fur grazes against my face, and he carries me over to the bed and lays me down in it, gently reclining me back against one of the large pillows. I mumble out some appreciation. Do I have the settings for now? The music is now louder. It should probably be louder. Wait, does it? That's probably good. I mumble out some appreciation. Thank you. He grunts in response. Godly, if it's fucking cold in here, at least make him decent and give him a shirt to wear. How are you cold? I'm not, but the floor feels like ice. Either way, clothing would mess with the bandages, and fresh air would do him some good. I'm sure that he's fine. I sit up in bed with some hesitation and open my mouth to speak. I'm sorry, but who are you? The two turn and look at me as if, as Leaf makes a motion to speak. The wolf places a paw on his shoulder. My name is Lyle Reed. I'm the captain of the Royal Guard. Of course he is. He says this with a certain twinge of proudness, his tail swishing slightly. And this is the royal family's physician, Leaf. He nudges Leaf in the side with his paw. Yes, I'm sure we can dispense with the formalities for now. Richter, do you remember anything before the crash? I look down at my torso and the two connect. So what's happened? You can't remember? He has a curious look on his face, and his eyes stare into mine with extreme intensity, while Leaf scuttles over to the bedside table. Kind of, it's all a bit vague. Here, have some water. Leaf walks over to me, carrying a small goblet of water. I drink it cautiously, bringing it to my lips and taking a short drink. Slowly, it all starts to come back to me as if I'd just woken up after a horrible dream. I was on my way north to the kingdom of Lyre as an ambassador for the kingdom of Lyre. It was during the 11th day of travel when it happened. As we were nearing the outskirts of the kingdom, I remember minding my own business in the small closed-off cart. Suddenly, there was a loud rumbling noise and shouting. I can't really remember much of what happened, just everything before blacking out. On the mountain pass just outside the city, there was an avalanche. It wiped through most of your small entourage and killed some men. When our rangers came upon where it happened, your carts and wagons were almost decimated. Huh. Coincidental avalanche. You had a piece of splintered wood lodged in your side. Thankfully, it didn't hit anything vital, and you seem to have recovered well over the past 4 days. While Lyre rants about how the mountain pass is now too dangerous to take anymore, I look down at my side and feel the bandages. It's painful, but not enough to make me wince. I was out for 4 days? Aside from the occasional stirring in your sleep. I quickly try to shake off the thought of someone watching me sleep. Even if it's for good intentions, it's not something I'd want. It would have been scary waking up in the middle of the night to a large wolf in the corner watching me sleep. But I hope this hasn't cut into anything important. Don't worry, things have been quite slow. There hasn't been much to discuss as we're still waiting for the ambassador from Driz. He falls silent, at first staring out the window behind me before his eyes fall back down. His tail swishes slightly, and after an awkward pause, he speaks again. The king has assigned me to be your personal guard. The statement surprises me. I was not expecting the king to assign me a guard, let alone the captain himself. I wonder what this story is going to be about. I thought it would be completely on my own without any retainers. As I'm thinking this, Leaf moves over to the other side of the room and fiddles with something in his little bag. I'm sure that you will do a fine job, sir. I'll make sure to give my thanks to the king. Oh wait, is this British media? Should I be doing British accents? I can't do a British accent. I'm sure you'll do a fine job, sir. I'll make sure to give my thanks to the king. There you go, guys. That's the British accent, right? For anyone who's like, oh, the characters should have British accents, there you go. There's the British accent. I fulfilled the quota. Lyle grimaces a bit and his nose twitches. You can just refer to me as Lyle. Huh. Lyle. It almost sounds like Lyre, but not quite. I give him a slight nod. And I wonder if Lyre is like a double entendre. Probably not. It's probably not a double entendre. I guess we just like instruments here, right? I guess they just like instruments. I give him a slight nod. Okay. Certainly isn't the introduction I had hoped for. One moment I'm sitting in my cart heading around the mountain pass. I'd be received by the king himself. Instead, I wake up in what I assume to be my new chambers, unfortunately having missed everything important for my arrival. Nothing of importance may have happened, but I'm certain more could have been achieved had I been awake. And as kind as these two are, the situation I find myself in is less than preferable. I sigh and shake my head. Well, as long as I wasn't holding anyone up for a terribly long amount of time, my thoughts still dwell on the crash. I haven't really had enough time to let it settle in that people just died, that I almost died. It's a shame that avalanche happened, and I'm very thankful that your rangers were able to save my life and many others. Lyle gives a slight smirk of acknowledgement. I can already tell that he's a bit modest, even if his tail is sweeping the ground. I'm sure they'd be happy to hear that. Leaf struts over to me with a small bowl of some weird mushy substance. It looks familiar, but I haven't had to take that much medicine in my life. Here's something to ease the pain. This is most likely the last time you'll have to take it, considering you've healed very quickly. I stare down at the bowl in discomfort as Leaf drones on about the unique healing properties innate in humans. Is that a thing? Is that a thing in this setting? Humans have augmented regeneration powers? Okay. Along with some other stuff I didn't care to focus on. I take the small bowl and drink down the strange mix. It has a thick consistency. The texture is like eating gritty mud. Not that I've ever done that before. The taste, however, is not as bad as I thought it would be. It has a savory flavor that's very hard to describe. Still not pleasant enough for me to enjoy thoroughly, though. If you don't mind, I'd like to take a look at your If you don't mind, I'd like to take a look at your bandages and also see how your recovery is coming along. Look down my side and lift the covers a bit. I suppose. Leaf walks around to the other side of the bed and begins to awkwardly unwrap the bandages with his gloved hands. When I catch Lyre watching from across the room, he quickly averts his gaze. He certainly is expressive, though he tries to hide it. Though it does make me wonder why he stares so much. I assume it's because humans are so rare this far north. Lee finishes unwrapping the bandages, and I finally get a good look at the wound. It looks a bit messy, a dark red color around the skin, and the scar it left behind isn't pretty. Ah, it's coming along nicely. He's got to be kidding. He takes a damp sponge and begins to lightly dab and rub at it. The wound cleans up well, and after a minute, Leaf rubs some weird cream on it with a sponge. He seems to be done. Lyle's turned around, meekly fidgeting with something on the desk. I'm surprised to see that you're getting better. You should be able to walk around without risk of opening the wound. Just try to take it slow. Will I be needing a bath? I blurt this out, not realizing how sudden it was. The bird stifles a chuckle and responds, No, I don't believe that will be necessary. I gave you a couple of sponge baths. Lyle here even elected to help with one. He what? Leaf. Leaf lets out a reedy giggle and Lyle covers his face with his paw. It's very helpful, this one. That's good to hear, thank you. Leaf seems to be happy to hear that his efforts are appreciated, as I can hear his tail lightly flipping up and down, rhythmically tapping against the ground for a second. I'm always happy to help. Let me know if you need anything else. And with that, he picks up his bag and makes his way to the door before turning to Lyle. I'll leave the rest to you, sir. Sir Reed. He shoves through the doorway, and it closes behind him with a soft thud. An awkward silence settles over the room. Lyle was clearly uncomfortable with it, so he speaks up. Leaf usually knows what he's talking about. But are you sure you're okay? Nothing else giving you any discomfort? Gives me a look of concern for a moment, but then his eyes dart around the room. Aside from my body feeling sore after being awake for a bit, I feel better. I feel good enough, I suppose. Just a bit weak. He looks at me with a smile and adjusts himself. Well, if you want to get dressed, your clothes and other things were brought up. He gestures over to the corner of the room where I can see my trunks and belongings. Or maybe you'd like to eat something? I'd be pleased to help you with anything you might need. Even though I'm wrapped in bandages around my torso, I feel underdressed, so I guess putting on some clothes would definitely help. I make a motion to rise, but Lyle shoots me a worried look. Maybe I could start with getting you something to wear. Sure, just give me the outfit from that trunk over there, please. I point to the trunk on the left, which has one of my nicer outfits. How do you know that? How do you know that? Is it going to be the one I would wear for the king? I'm glad to see that it survived the crash. He makes his way over to the pile of trunks, his cape gliding across the floor behind him with each careful step. Lyle looks very out of place in this room. Everything's so small compared to him. He bends down and unlatches the trunk, pausing to look at its contents before proceeding to cautiously sift through it. His ears perk up really high when he finds the outfit. He clumsily stands from his kneeling position and walks over to the side of my bed carrying the outfit. It's nothing too fancy. I may have some form of noble status, but I don't tend to overplay it. It is, however, the nicest outfit I own that fits the climate. Made from fine silks and velvet, the teal colors pop in the afternoon light. Tailcoats are not usually my favorite article of clothing to wear, as I lean towards robes or jackets on most occasions. It's safe to say that this outfit is not worn as much as the others. Lyle places the outfit on the bed and takes a step back. Is this the one? He says this with a bit of worry, as if he made the wrong decision. Yes, this is it. I sit up and grab onto the pair of pants. I go to change and realize what's wrong with this. Should I bathe first? Lyle looks at me with a dismissive gaze, then talks. You smell fine to me. I guess someone like him would be the best judge of that. I go to unbutton my trousers but stop, realizing that he's watching. Do you mind looking the other way? Oh, of course. Quickly turns on his heel and stands at the other side of the room, staring out the window, the light eclipsing around his dark fur. I take off my trousers and undergarments, putting on a fresh new pair and then fasten the new slacks. It's Surprised the shower wasn't warranted. Then again, I was given a bath or two, was I not? Still facing the window, he speaks to me, his voice bouncing off of the glass. There's a hint of embarrassment in his voice. You were. As I secure the last button, I lift my head and speak in his direction. Okay, you're good. Apologies. He turns away from the window quickly, like a soldier being given orders. I reach down for the shirt and bring it up over my head. As my arms rise above my head, I feel a sharp pain in my side and wince. Lyle clearly sees this and looks concerned. Maybe I should help. No, it's fine. I just need to slide my arms through the sleeves and my head pops up through the collar. The shirt is fitted, with buttons lining several parts of it. It seems that over the years, close-fitting garments have become increasingly popular. Before I'm able to finish putting on the vest, Lyle is walking around to the other side of the bed, carrying the tailcoat. He lifts it up, motioning to put it on me. He drapes the coat over me slowly, with the collar fitting around my neck. I carefully embrace it and start putting it on. So, you're gonna be my guard? If you'll have me. He says this with an uncertain look on his face. I guess it wouldn't hurt. I really don't mind it. I don't know if I'll need the protection, but it's always nice to be prepared. It's also nice to have a guide of sorts to show me around. It's for the best, really. Almost half of your men were wiped out in that disaster. The king thought you could use some extra pawns. And I can show you the castle and escort you around town. I'd like that a lot. Seeing town would be nice. What? Right, still wondering what the plot is, right? Still wondering what the story is about. Although I don't know if I'll have the time to make a whole day out of it. That sounds nice. As captain, I'm able to handle most of my duties very quickly, so time shouldn't be an issue. In the mornings, I'm all over the place, but after that, I rarely have much to do unless something arises. The king also thought you might like to have someone in a high position that you can trust. He says this with a certain proudness in his voice and a light smile. I decide to humor him. What makes you think I can trust you? Or what makes you think I trust you? I say this in a joking manner, awaiting a reaction from him. He stops moving one of the sleeves up my arm for a moment. Then he starts again, and his mouth twists in an embarrassed smile. Don't worry, I was only joking. Very funny. I mean, it is called Lyre. The story is called Lyre. You know, it's lyre as in, you know, like the string instrument, but you know, right? The aforementioned double entendre. He grumbles to himself as I fasten the buttons on the front. Say, you watched me while I slept? He's taken back by this statement. I'm your guard. I was stationed outside of your room to keep watch. Believe me, it's not something I chose to do. It's not like you're in any danger or anything. You mistake me. That's not what I was worried about. I'm wondering why we're up so late into the night. Do you take both day and night shift? I find it very hard to sleep if I did that. I don't need to sleep all that much. Plus I feel more awake at night. He just doesn't sleep? He just doesn't sleep inexplicably? Okay. Yeah, I heard that some people don't need as much sleep as humans. Maybe 3 to 4 hours within a 24-hour period. I guess that's good for someone in his position. Though, if I have that much time during the day, I had no idea what to do with it. I definitely get more work done than I usually do. What do we do? We're an ambassador? Well, it's fine. Well, it's fine that you were keeping watch. Again, I was only joking. I do enjoy watching this wolf get flustered. You're just full of jokes, aren't you? He shakes his head with a slight laugh, sighing as he looks at the floor. Hangs out of his mouth in a silly way. I didn't understand that line. I take a moment of this silence to ask more about important matters. Does the king request my presence? I realized I was a bit foolish of me to dress for the occasion before even considering that I might not even get to meet the king today. I'm just looking forward to finally meeting him. I also want this feeling of being in the dark to go away. I'm not even sure the king knows that you're awake at this moment, but I assume he'll find out shortly. You'll mostly be able to speak with him during supper tomorrow. It does sound interesting. I definitely wouldn't mind having a nice meal right now. Speaking of supper, I'm starving. Don't worry, that's already been taken care of. Leaf would have sent me for one of the servers to bring you some food by now. Especially since they won't have to feed you with that weird tube. Did they seriously have to do that? I feel sick at the thought. Only twice, and don't worry, it's not that bad. The little twerp may be a bit weird at times, but he knows his way around medicine, and has been able to achieve things most wouldn't even imagine to be possible. Lyle has an odd relationship with the bird. Sounds like he respects him, though. From what I've seen, he seems to know his way around his work, and I trust him. He seems pretty jumpy, though. I wouldn't imagine he's the best at surgery. Unless he had help. Then again, I'm still here. So, how did you find yourself in your position? Well, that came out of nowhere. Think for a moment about what I should say. I don't want to give away too much about myself. Why not? Why not? But the more I think about it, I realize there isn't much to give away. Well, I was granted nobility in the West, and I'm good at what I do. At least, I like to think that I am. Sometimes I feel like others have done all the work for me. Or the work I did was for others and not myself. Something like that. The look on Lyle's face tells me that I was a bit too vague. What? That's it? He has an unsatisfied look on his face, but then he shrugs. Sure, there's more to it. I'll find out in due time. Well, if I'm going to tell you my life story, you'd better tell me yours. And I'll need a drink. Deal. Wine's over here. It's not even the 18th hour by the time the sun disappears behind the mountains, and I'm forced to light a few candles. Because we're up north, as daylight shorter. I've taken off my coat, folded it, and set it down in the corner for tomorrow. Lyle is reclined in one of the chairs, his paws kicked up as he tells me about when he was a squire. Of course, most of the time I just felt like an assistant. His ears twist in the direction of the door. It wasn't always combat training. Suddenly, there's a knock at the door. His ears perk up and he sniffs at the air. I thought I smelled food. Really? Because all I can smell is wine. He stumbles getting up, yet confidently walks over to the door. Though he tries to hide it, he's a bit tipsy. I'd be surprised if he didn't trip over his cape. Then again, I don't have much of a clear head either. He swings open the door and greets the server. Hello. Please, come in. Lyle steps back and the servant enters, pushing a cart through. They walk under Lyle's arm like an archway as he holds the door open for them. The cart is filled with the brim with different types of foods. Some hot, some cold. Roasted duck, cooked fish, all laid on greens surrounded by vegetables. Steam rises off of them, as like they were just pulled from the fire. There's some bread and cheese, with a weird sauce off to the side. On the side tray, there's a fresh bottle of wine with what looks to be a piece of mint. Thank you. I call out to the server standing in the doorway. He nods in an acknowledgement and leaves. Lyle stands there for a moment before adjusting his cape. Well, I hope you enjoy your meal. He makes to leave the room, but before he can, I speak up. Oh, you're not going to join me? He pauses for a moment and turns to answer. It's very generous of you, but I'll go eat in my quarters later. Besides, I've already rated you of your wine. And I have certain things I need to do. I'm sad to see him go, but then again, he also looks a bit conflicted. I don't think I can be alone right now. I need some company after everything that's happened. Oh, come on. I insist. Besides, this is way too much food, even for someone who hasn't had a proper meal in days. Clearly, whoever sent this knew more than one person would partake. He turns away from the door before closing it with a smile on his face. As my lord commands, he walks back over to one of the chairs and sits down. I take a nice portion of duck and place it on one side of my plate. The fish looks really good, so I grab some of that as well. Just as I'm about to head back to my seat, there's a piece of parchment folded up and placed in the center of the tray. I pick up the note and read it. Enjoy. R. It's from R. I pocket the note, and once I'm done, Lyle begins filling up his plate. He takes quite a bit of the duck, and most of it is gone by the time he's done plating his food. I thought that I was taking a lot. He's bigger than me, so it makes sense that he would need more. A glass of wine was enough for me, but for him, he needed the whole bottle. Grabbing it in his paw, it was like a medicine bottle with how small it looked. He flops into his chair and starts to eat, cutting into the duck with a fork and knife. As he drags the knife through the meat, he continues his story. Anyway, I squared for Lord Bryn up until the age of 19. Then when I was made an anointed then I was made an anointed knight by the king. I've heard most aren't knighted until they're at least 21, and now you're the captain? Yes. How old are you now? 22. You're the captain of the guard and you're only 22? I blurp this out and end up regretting it when I see his bashful expression. I did not mean to sound so surprised. I'm only just about to turn 20, and I'm already being sent far away on diplomatic missions, so I guess I've no leg to stand on. But still, to be knighted at such a young age? Believe me, I was just as surprised as you are. But the captain usually has the next in line selected in case they die. When Sir Runar died, it was revealed that he had chosen me as his successor. Everyone said that he was grooming me for command, but I didn't really expect to get there so soon. The king was pleased with this, though, so I didn't question it. He takes a grape, pops it in his mouth. "You can't eat that," and then chews it with a distant look on his face. "Did you not want to be captain?" He stopped chewing for a moment, trying to process the question. Something that I absolutely wanted, but it just happened so fast. Yeah, I understand. Must be stressful being put into a position like that so fast. I'm sure you're doing a great job at it. I hope so. Takes another drink from his cup, making a loud slurping noise. Take a bite from my fish. It's the best food I've had in a long time. The fish tastes considerably different from the fish off the coast of Erin, but it's still good. Maybe it's because I was so hungry. Maybe it's the company. Lyle empties his cup and then reaches for the pitcher to pour some more. "Sir Richter, how old are you?" "I'm 19. You look a little bit older than 19 to me." Cock an eyebrow at him. "Not that that's a bad thing." "Ha, well the same can be said for you, Scruffy." Drag my fingers across my right eye, hinting at his scar. Heh, I guess so. He reaches up and rubs a paw over his eye while chuckling. Though I prefer rugged over scruffy. How did you get it? If you don't mind me asking. He contemplates for a moment, then pours some more wine. I'll tell you that story someday. And I need a lot more wine than this. He lifts the bottle and sloshes it around slightly. Speech is a bit slurred to the drunk state he's in. He takes a big drink from his cup and lowers it with a satisfied exhale. Must be an interesting story. It's one way to describe it. Doesn't look recent. Did you get it during training? Again, I'm sorry, but I'd rather not talk about this right now. I hold up my hands. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to pry. Sometimes my curiosity gets the better of me, and I ask too many questions. I understand. I can do the same thing sometimes, so don't worry. Picks up his empty plate and sets it on the tray. Really hope I didn't make him too uncomfortable with that. Finishing a piece of bread when I notice his eyes light up. Can I, have this piece of mint? He holds up the little bundle of leaves, just barely pinching it between the claws on his gloves. Sure, you can have it. Thank you. Pops a piece of it in his mouth and chews on it. I finish my plate and place it on the tray as well. Feeling really tired now that I have some food in my stomach. Lyle senses this and motions towards the door. Thanks for letting me eat with you, but... Gets up from his chair with a grunt and pats the lower part of his breastplate. I should probably be going. I'm sure that you're going to have a busy day tomorrow. He starts walking towards the door. You need to thank me. You're good company. He smiles and opens the door. Have a great night, and I'll be guarding that hall for a bit if you need anything. Good night, and thank you. You're welcome. How twee. He stumbles through the door and it closes with a thud. I take off my clothes, blow out the candles, and then fall into bed. I've only been awake for a couple hours, but I feel so tired. My side still feels a bit sore, but it should get better with time. I tried to sleep on my stomach, but it causes my side to hurt even more, so I lay down on my back instead. Lyle and Leaf seem very kind. Lots of L's. Lots of L's. Especially Lyle. I'm glad that I was in their care while I was out. The wine gets to me, and I slowly drift off into a deep sleep. Dream sequence? Dream sequence or time skip? I bet dream sequence / flashback. I bet there's a dream sequence / flashback. Heck. I was wrong, guys. I was wrong. There wasn't a dream sequence. My eyes feel dry and burn at the corners. I lay there motionless, not because I can't move, but because I don't want to. I feel so exhausted. The lower halves of my arms and legs feel like stone pillars. I slowly try to collect myself as I wake up. Sometimes when I'm waking up, it takes me a minute to realize I'm even awake. I have to steadily become more aware of my surroundings and try to grasp what's going on. I groggily open my eyes. It's still night? Look out the moonlit window and scan the room, adjusting my eyes. That would make sense considering how much sleep I've already gotten. I raise myself from my reclined position. Halfway up, I feel a tug at my throat. It feels like a smooth rope is wrapped around my neck. Suddenly, I'm pulled back by a hard jolt, and feel a burning substance lurch down my throat. It's acidic and has a terrible taste to it. It's happening. I struggle underneath the grasp of the rope, but it appears pointless. There's a harder tug as it pulls me deeper into the bed. I feel the burning liquid pouring down my throat faster now as my upper body sinks into the covers. I try to scream out for Lyle, hoping that he's still in the hall. Shadows are cast through the crack under the door. It looks like someone is on the other side, standing in front of it. Finally, as my vision begins to fade along with my hearing, there's a muffled breath in my right ear. Live. That's just the average sleep paralysis experience. Guys, I was right, there was a dream sequence. Probably. Right? I think that was a dream sequence? Anyway, I was right. I jolt awake, eyes wide open, breathing hard as my chest heaves up and down. The early morning light is pouring through the window, casting a pink hue on the bricks. I hate nightmares. Anyway, that's the end of test recording, Project Lyre. Might read more, maybe. It's very cool. Very interesting.